that apex factor that's allowed teams to really take that victory.
Definitely positioning and setup for these, especially in defense on the retakes, because if you lose some lives while that attacking team is taking the site, then being at a disadvantage and able to play off each other's angles and positioning is really key in bringing back these matchup. It's just a little bit more stressful for both teams because someone can genuinely just say, I don't know, Sova diff, Jet diff, and you have to kind of live with that embarrassment.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things too where it's like you can't even say, well, it's because that was a hard counter agent, right? There's not too many of those inside of Valorant, but sometimes given the positioning and just like the utility usage, it's really hard to compete against something like that. In this case, though, you really don't have that much of an excuse. But early on, though, we do see action happening towards A main. Some pipes control as well from the Sage, but look at this opening pick from jcrueL. Gonna be taking down that Jet diff. Greco almost left by themselves at 410. They had to forego the site.
Just a little bit stalled out. The owl drone is going to try to find some info. They know that someone's hiding behind this pillar, so that wall going up is going to allow them for a safer plan, but just knifing away at it, trying to find a way back onto the site. A 4v4 situation for timeout to go for this retake.
Attempted shots to go through. Kurt taking down from Raptor's side. A 3v3 to push back into the site on pistols, but things are looking really good for Complexity's attacking favor. Valyn's good for one. Right around the corner, though, confirmed for a second, and that's nearly a flawless round.
Very nearly, I mean, for a pistol, it's really hard to say which way it's going to swing, but a nearly flawless round, 3 people still alive, is definitely going to allow them to get some extra shields on this next round. That Phoenix almost confused me a little bit. But this replay on Valyn, he was really holding it down, especially in rafters as well as through that wall when it broke. So good first round for Complexity, giving them some buy-ups. It seems that Epathy is actually going to go for the Marshall here though, and holding from that corner on A might get a good sightline onto rafters there, but doesn't seem like much else.
On timeout, or almost completely giving up control of A site, allowing Complexity to push up here. Jet on 410, Epathy forced to move away. Greco, though, finds an amazing opening pick. The controller for the team now completely gone off Complexity. Plant's still going to go underway, but there's nothing to deny a line of sight beside the Cloudburst now. Kurt inside Rafters. Not able to find too much action, but jcrueL has a power position right on top of 410. Anyone that pushes by could be in for a heap of trouble. The entirety of the team, though, looking to push into that Cloudburst. AGM going for the flank. Going to see if they can pinch with jcrueL to go forward. AGM, though, good for 2. Could be good for 3, but no Apathy, though. Is able to clutch up a tiny bit more. jcrueL takes the opportunity to push up it very well. It's going to be Complexity now, good for 2.
2 rounds in a row for Complexity, as is usually expected at the beginning of these maps, because that first round pistol and then the bonus, it's pretty much the way that it always goes these days. And seeing a 1-to-1 scoreline at the very beginning of the map is pretty rare. Now, against the full buy, Complexity has to basically break themselves against some greater gun power, but this time they're switching it up, going to that B site, and the wall is going down, but I believe they put it down every single round, so they don't completely know if they're being committed. But now, shots being fired means the rotations come out from timeout as Spike tries to get planted.
You gotta feel bad for timeout in this instance, right? Because CHOBOME has been playing on B every single round, but the Killjoy was on B site into the last round where we saw Complexity rush onto A. But the one time Killjoy doesn't play in this location is the site they don't go to. Oh, that's absolute pain. Epathy, though, top of Nest, is looking to find anyone to peek through on yellow. brawk is playing with fire if they do cross by, but the Viper Wall is going to come in clutch and allow him to overextend. But Epathy, right on the other side, pushing up, waiting for the wall to fall. Mid-side, though, is going to have a heap of trouble with CHOBOME to find one, but no! Kurt's good for the double kill, trying to clean up to the side, but it's down to CHOBOME. And the lasting Sage, ohai, a 1v1, hack for the defuse. It's the kill, but no ohai comes in clutch with the spray and pray for the Spectre.
able to get that Phantom as well, so great economy for Complexity, 3 in a row, playing incredibly well as we have expected from this tournament. And we also do see some ultimates that are almost available for many of Complexity's player. Ohai went away from the Resurrection, Valyn and AGM both went away from their own ultimates as well. jcrueL a little farther away from that Blade Storm, but with that gun differential and against the Sheriff buy and mostly a save with and only a Marshal really as their real long distance weapon there, it seems like they're going to have a pretty easy round.
Perhaps so. You can definitely tell Complexity want to take this a little bit more cautiously. CHOBOME, making it no secret that they only have a Marshal. Huge weapon diff coming out from Complexity's side. Empathy though, advanced positioning on top of 410, looking to play off the turret. Oh, not going to quite go the way they had hoped, I guess. Bude though down below, has to face the 1v2, different positions. jcrueL now power position onto the site, nearly finds maps. It's going to allow Kurt to keep his life for a little bit longer. CHOBOME looking to come his backup. Backside, the entirety of A taking in Complexity's favor now. A 3v5 into the post plant. Oh, Tala, it's not looking good for time outside. They're unable to get onto the site themselves. No lines of sight, especially for Grego. Can't find anybody down below. These Marshal shots piercing through maps, unable to connect. brawk good for 2. Gonna leave Grego by himself. At least it's not a flawless round.
Almost finding that second pick. jcrueL for the 3k, going to secure the 4th for Complexity, but that wasn't looking good for a timeout at the very beginning. I mean, having only the Sheriffs, but this time Empathy coming back strong with that Operator and Light Shields, so it's going to be a little bit of a glass cannon here, but hopefully able to get some work done, maybe take some positioning on the A site or down mid. I mean, we've seen the Jet op on that little box on A site to get a cheeky angle for anyone who decides to walk through main, but this time it seems like the Killjoy defending Complexity's preferred site. Meanwhile, they've got the Jet down mid, but it seems like a little bit of aggression towards mid.
What I really like too is that Complexity are changing it up every round, right? And we are seeing adaptation coming out from timeout as well. But Complexity, even if they win a round, they don't just pull the same strat 2 rounds in a row. They're changing it up, they're spicing things up differently. They're really keeping timeout on their toes. Not going to affect anyone on timeout immediately.
Like they're just trying to clear out the site, but there's still a lot of utility there.
Wait,
and also the lurk coming from Valyn. They just walk past each other like ships in the night.
No way. But CHOBOME, I think he's aware of this. Valyn, 29 HP, tries to find the headshot, attempts, and succeeds in doing so. It's going to leave Grego in a very precarious spot. No place is safe now. Plan goes underway on A once more, but Empathy with the up finds Valyn, takes him out of his misery. Oh, but what's the response now? So much rotation coming out from time outside. Need to get onto the site. Bude hiding behind. Box playing around the Sage wall. brawk for the retake. Doesn't have shock darts anymore. This is tough. Timeout, they have some control of the site, but they can't get close to the spike. Empathy with the up above. Does find ohai. Sage wall does go up. It's at half. This is a great way to go for the defuse, but it's stuck at half. No one on the complete. Grego, though, goes for 1. Almost finds that, but jcrueL's able to stay alive, but that's going to be the first round for timeout.
And he dashes to grab that operator though, so 5,000 credits lost, but they were able to secure that round. Sagewall really coming in clutch. They didn't think that they would be sticking it. I think they might have not realized that he was just hiding behind the Sage wall instead of not sticking it. It was a unfortunate sort of situation for Complexity to get in, but they did get the kills off that, so even after winning that round, it might be a little bit of a struggle for time out to get this next one. We do see the light shields coming out from them, so a health disadvantage, but not much disadvantage otherwise.
So Complexity lose their first round, right? The response is now to play mid. There's no Sage wall up on top here. AGM going to uncharted territory. There is an alarm bot right at the apex. Extension from Empathy though. Gonna cause him to fall. Spotting out Grego. That could be an instant death. And it is. Sorcerer's Apprentice able to combo strike again, taking down Grego. All three left alive though, Tala have their ults. But Kurt though, looking to fight fire with fire. jcrueL would find one more. AGM though, hiding top of stairs. I don't think they're aware of the alarm bot though. Bude, right on top of boxes, none the wiser though, going for the full rotate. Brawk goes in for the plant. Oh, it's gonna leave Giacomo in a very precarious spot, but so much so they take down AGM.
That also gives Complexity the entire A site for basically for free, and Timeout really has no way back onto that site in time to go for the retake as well as the defuse with 4 players still left alive. So I think the call has been made now to just save, and Complexity doesn't look to be hunting so much as just watching the flank and shutting down any attempt that they might have at clutching this out. Not going too far away from the spike either, risking a ninja defuse as they hunt down those last 2 players. So they're playing really carefully, don't want to lose more than 1 or 2 rounds on this map.
No, by no means. And we've seen what the economy looks like for Timeout these last few rounds, right? Especially before they were able to win that previous one. It was just such a huge ping pong. They were able to save, then force buy, then save when losing the next round. This is going to give them at least a little bit more of a padding, right? They're going to have a little bit more cheese in their pocket to work with if they do lose this next round. Oh, but this is a good time to go for the timeout here, for time outside. But, Tala, what's the win condition right now for the defense?
Honestly, you know, letting AGM walk up to wasn't as big of a mistake as it might have been, and relinquishing that control, it seemed, was to give more presence to that A site, but getting taken down by the Hunter's Fury while just hiding in the back of sight was so detrimental to, and was allowed them to take down that Sage. And I think they were trying to save that Sage wall for that defuse because it came in so clutch in the round that Complexity had lost before. So saving that for the retake situation just to make it for a safer defuse and maybe Complexity more hesitant to push back onto that spike. It's just maybe just back off, try to take control of other sides of the map, spread out some of Complexity's players, because we know that they do like that lurker. They like to have Valyn lurk on the B site or around mid, and just picking off that one player, relinquishing control of the site, but going back in with full utility or as much utility as possible for the defuse might be their only way of taking these rounds.
A timeout? They're only bringing out 2 Phantoms and everybody else is saving. It makes sense because they were the ones that saved that last round. But it is, in a sense, a very broken order to pick up weapons. But perhaps maybe they can find some opening picks and then use those fallen weapons for their teammates to pick up. Brawk has the drone to push out, does spot one on 410. The immediate push up though, Valyn takes down Grego. But where's the response? There's nobody there. jcrueL's on top of 410. They're able to take more out. It's a firing squad. And but down below, Giacomo good for 1, finds 2 more to the left. It's gonna leave Kirk to be the last one alive now. A 1v3. Not the worst situation to be in, but certainly not a fun one. The wall goes up immediate to the left. There's a small opening for Kurt to work with. Oh, but they're too thick to skirt on by. They have to re-rotate around. They could use Nest. But up above in pipes, AGM could be there for the strafe. Recon bolt now active. The slow, holding the corner. The page from jcrueL comes by, and that's going to be good for the half for Complexity's favor.
jcrueL has such an interesting playstyle. We don't often see the operator on the attack, but jcrueL uses it, and honestly, it literally does not care. Plays it like a rifle almost, the way that he's been peeking backside and a bunch of angles. You would think it would take longer for him to scope in and line up that shot than it would to just simply tap with a Vandal or Phantom, but he's been making it work. And on the other side, Timeout is in a good position now. They have their guns. That is what they want, and they have 4 ultimates. The Resurrection, Viper's Pit, completely denying the A site, but the trades go out, and ohai good for 2. Kurt, however, going to trade 1 back, so that makes it a 3-2-3 player advantage going to neither side. The Viper's Pit's still up on the A site, but it's about to go down as they have to make the rotations over to B. Yeah,
completely foregoing that ult now. Didn't really have much of an impact. This Viper Ball, very strong. A bit he's blocked off. Reverse Viper Pit, though, going to come out. It's been a very stinky round. But now, line of sight completely denied. brawk with only 9 HP, forced to watch for the flank. Kurt, though, is going to use the opportunity to push up not once, but twice. And now brawk again with just 9 HP. Needs to take a 1v3. No control, no line of sight. They do have shock darts for the denial of plant, but the recon ball needs to be used for not yellow side. That's going to allow free entry for Apathy to take them down.
The Viper wall on this B site. I'm not sure, was that there the entire round, or was that only placed down for the retake? Because I think that's what I mean by retake utility, because it's a lot harder to defend Icebox than it is to retake a site, in my opinion, because it is a pretty large map. It has a very open mid area that anyone can basically walk to and fro. And I believe that actually was a retake wall. It was not placed at the beginning of round. Oh no. But the opposite Viper wall also does go down here, and it's something that I believe we've seen valyn do every single round. Just not know if they are going that way or not. But the problem with that is it also does get rid of their controller utility. Oh.
Well, they lost a little bit more control. Maybe not so much the controller themselves, but they lost some lines of sight with the Cloudburst now no longer active for the round for the defense. jcrueL's going to try to push up towards mid. There's a 1v3 potential here. Bude to find one. The smoke active, allowing Kurt to push up. Oh no, but the revive could be an easy kill, but it's all bait. It's a microwave instead. Oh no, and we see the reverse revive coming through. It's like poetry, right? We've seen this 2 rounds in a row where it's just one ult coming out from one side, then the other agent on the other team brings their ult out. First Viper, now Sage. Killjoy has her lockdown, but Complexity doesn't. That's spicy to get lopsided down in front of the site. Bude still hiding behind map. Down, but looks like they might be foregoing it and saving.
Planted.
Right here.
The health disadvantage on timeout isn't too great, but they are 2 players down, and they already invested the resurrection into that last round. I think they don't really want to is it called beat a dead truck? There are a lot of phrases that I'm not really sure how it is, or beat a dead horse, something like that, because they've already invested one ultimate, don't want to invest another one in case they do end up losing that round, and just end up having placed so much value into one round for nothing. So maybe just saving the rifles is the best move here, but valyn now is on the hunt.
Oh, valyn could be good for one, but the turret's gonna spot them out. I like this little hideout that timeout likes to nest up when they're in situations like this. They're good for one, but the trade is still there. It's not really good or bad for timeout side. And look at that transition stinger. I love seeing that with the Phoenix.
The replay. Such a strong transition. And it also shocks me a little bit because I'm like, wait, there isn't a Phoenix in this game.
It's such a nice transition. Also, jcrueL's 13-2.
Oh. Damn. jcrueL. Really making a lot of space though as that duelist, even when he had the operator now on the Phantom. But even without the controller utility, you see the Viper wall on the B site. They are not afraid to completely hard clear every single angle on this site and just run it down. They don't need the smokes. They are confident in winning these gunfights, but that's the only way that this team comp can really work for Complexity.
Yeah. That aggression is so powerful for Complexity's side, and while it is a mirror mode matchup, timeout have been struggling on that same aggression. Though, of course, as we say that, that's going to be the opening pick in timeout's favor. The lockdown of response is going to be huge. Plus, in response to that as well, another now, we go back to the gunfights. We see Grego able to almost take down one. Some line of sight, not going to be in their favor either. And this has just been a gun diff for Complexity. ohai gets a 4K, and we talked about how good they were for the half, right? But now it's 8-2.
And they only lost one life that round, and I think it tends to be valyn, their controller player, or AGM. But it really doesn't matter because so much space is being made that they don't need that lockdown utility as much. They don't need the alarm bot or the nano swarms or the snake pit, because timeout just basically never gets a chance to get onto the site or even try to go for the defuse. So they don't need the lineups or the nano swarm to allow them to just buy more time. They completely peek it with a gun and somehow win that gunfight most times.
Look at that. Very little KJ utility on side of B. Double Viper Wall goes down. Bude has top kitchen, but look at this. They only have a ghost to work with. The rest of the defenders coming through from mid side could be huge. It's Bude blindly firing through the entirety of the wall. All of yellow has been in control of complexity. jcrueL looking for the pop shots of their own. Blocked off by another Viper. It's a big standstill. In the middle of those two walls, it's just no man's land. But Epathy's gonna go through, trying to make something work, but valyn gets a double kill out of the ordeal. CHOBOME still inside nest, waiting for someone to poke through, but through the wall instead. jcrueL on a different level finds another. This is not looking good, Tala. 2 left alive for the defense, and the spike hasn't even gone down yet. Kurt good for 1, Grego for another. A 2v2 into the post plant. AGM overextending a little bit, waiting for the peek towards Grego. They're gonna not check their corners. Another Sheriff Wielder to go down. Kurt, now the last one alive, has to check so much, and that's gonna allow AGM to get the double.
Round from complexity. I think timeout, though, idea was definitely there, and there was potential, especially since they got those 2 kills at the, or 3 kills, I believe, at the end there, and evening it out to a 2v2. They just didn't really account for AGM to be lurking around mid, especially when the spike was planted towards site. And I think that's something that timeout has struggled with a little bit since they've allowed a lurker to go unaccounted for. For some reason, it seems like timing is a big part of how these lurkers are getting past the back lines of timeout. Apathy, though, with the operator, is able to find that first pick onto valyn and just whittle down the numbers of complexity a bit more before they start this take.
Apathy was playing such a dangerous game at the beginning there with the cloudburst, but now holding another very close angle. ohai, not so different. Chooses the forego it, whether they realize Apathy's back there or not. CHOBOME peeks up and is able to take down AGM, losing the killjoy, in fact losing 2 now for complexity side. A lot of the shoulders of this round, a lot of the weight of this round is going to fall on jcrueL's shoulders. Attempting to push up here, leading the charge. No native initiation, except for the Sova to work with here. Recon Bolt, not sure if it's active, but pushing through the Viper wall against them. Having to check every corner. But because of that Viper wall, there's a lot more of an unknown factor on the other side. It's going to allow the peek to come through. CHOBOME holding behind yellow. brawk, though. No one's checking yellow immediately. It's going to be 1 to go down. Maybe make that 2. The Viper spin in response. Now a split push coming through from what's left of complexity's side. jcrueL, so heavily lit, does take down CHOBOME. But Bude was able to use that time to push up. A 4v2 now, possibly into the post plant. 18 seconds left. No denial for that plant to go down. Extra money in complexity's pocket. But look how little control they have. The double mollies to go underway. Yellow control in the favor of complexity. But they can't peek that just yet. It's a 2-to-1 ratio. That's not going to stop timeout from pushing up all at once. ohai trying to swerve their way around again, leaving jcrueL for dead essentially. But no! ohai gets a triple! Make that a 4K off of it.
How did he even get over there?
You will not
that is the question. He somehow, like, this is what I mean by the timing. He just somehow snuck past all of timeout's players and was able to get that 4K and completely clutch out that round. And good for the half now. I think it was 9-3 scoreline that we saw for complexity. They are doing so well for themselves in this round, and it seemed almost hopeless, but it was just such an unfortunate ultimate, I think, for CHOBOME there, because he was right pushed up to B, and all jcrueL had to do really was swing.
And ohai
and
just went for the
before
lurk
this Viper's pit completely goes up.
Yeah, and these Viper pits have been really curious, right, for the majority of both of these teams. Because a lot of the time, they've just been shut down instantly as soon as they go up. ohai, though. Now that the sides have swapped, goes for the immediate Sage Wall, forced to jump down for the Radiant box. We're seeing a very aggressive round from Timeout Tala, but Valyn playing it safe, does have the ghost, finds the headshot of one, make that two, the spike to go underway, but not in a good way. And now Timeout, they only have 3 left alive. They're forced to take the gunfights here, push up to get the spike back. And while Valyn goes down, the damage may have already been done. A 3v3, 2 of which in mid now to take down the lurker. This might have to be a rotate into A.
Rotate through spawn into A, and jcrueL is right here, just waiting for someone there. Cover. Got the dink, but still able to escape with his life there.
Empathy is playing such a dangerous game here. Last one alive now. A may be an option. Should be able to hear the turret on the other side of the wall. Gets spotted out, no less. Now everyone left on the defense knows exactly or approximately where Empathy will be playing. At this point, too late to go for A. Empathy's forced to take the gunfights on to B site. Shock Dart attempted to find one. Vertical angles though. jcrueL good for 3. It's a battle between ohai and jcrueL right now for who gets top frag.
I mean, what we saw in that last round, I think, is a great example of how you know how much a team has played together, because we saw Valyn get quite a few kills from Snowman on the B site, and he was pinged out by the recon dart quite a few times. Kurt fired it, but no one peeked off that info or waited for the info for the recon dart before pushing, and as a result of that, they assumed that the recon dart would clear it, or whoever shot the recon dart would clear it. It just seemed like there was a bit of a miscommunication, and that resulted in a lot of their players going down early.
Oh, this is chaos inside of Tube though. Valyn good for 1, gets the spray, praying down for another. But what about the last one top of Tube? No, Kurt finds the revenge, but as soon as that happens, goes down. It's gonna leave Butte in a bad spot as they fall underway as well. Timeout now, on the verge of facing against match point. 1 left alive. 12 to 2 for Complexity's favor. And there's a reason why we've been seeing Complexity play Icebox so much over the last 2 months. So many times played. Well over a 50% win rate. Holy moly.
They are doing... I mean, I think they just have so much chemistry, and their comms are very clear. Either the comms are very clear, or they just have played together so often that they... because they know that their teammates have them covered. They're covering their backs. And even though Complexity have won 2 rounds in a row, Timeout is still unable to buy. And jcrueL, with that Vandal, is able to find 2 quick picks right at the beginning of this round. Empathy going to even out those numbers though, and brawk only able to find 1 more to keep Complexity at that advantage.
It's not impossible. Timeout. Coming pretty damn close. 1 spotted out here, but through the Viper wall, unknown, but still gets taken out. That's going to be a 13-2 map 1 for Complexity.